When I was a kid, I loved going to my grandparents' house, but there was one area that my brother and I would avoid at all costs, and that was the basement. I remember the light switch specifically because it was a timed light switch that would go off after a few minutes, and so you had to go in, get what you needed, and come out, because if you were in the basement by the time the lights went out, something was going to get you. Playing Eyes in the Dark unlocked that childhood memory of exploring a house, having it be dark, and wondering what creepy crawlies lay in wait. Before we get any further, I'd like to take a second to thank Gearbox for sponsoring this Indiescovery. As always, sponsorship does not change the opinion that I have or what I'll share with you about the game, but it does allow me to create this content, and I appreciate Gearbox and the devs at Under the Stairs for supporting the channel in this way. So again, huge thank you for sponsoring this video. Eyes in the Dark is a stylistic roguelite centered around the young child Victoria Bloom, a girl who arrives to her grandfather's enormous and foreboding mansion and finds that he has gone missing, taken by dark creatures with seemingly malicious intent. As Victoria, you must explore the mansion with only a flashlight on hand to help light the way. Walking into the mansion, the most striking immediate sight is the Bloom family tree and tapestry. This is a family that emphasizes lineage and history and proper etiquette and excelling at things. Reading about each person, you'll see that every single one of them excelled at something. Engineering, sciences, mathematics, even hunting. The Bloom Manor itself has grown massive over the years, with each member of its family adding to its winding halls and extravagant rooms. There is a deeper secret within the family, their scientific prowess, and their connection to the haunting that you'll discover as you wander, but I won't spoil that for this Indiescovery. Just know that while the tale isn't too deep or complex, I was very happy that it was there to help provide a scaffold to our journey. Eyes in the Dark is a roguelite at its core, with some elements of twin-stick shooters drawn in for the flashlight use. With each run, you'll start in the main hall with the ability to unlock different perks using knowledge gained in your previous run. I appreciated that there are some powerful perks that are available in the catalogs that allow players to choose how much they'd like to get a head start on their build prior to diving into a run, in addition to deciding what kind of drops they'd like to unlock while they're in the midst of a run. If you're the kind of player who also loves a challenge, you're more than welcome to leave these locked or just not opt in. And I loved that for the Halloween update, additional costumes are unlockable as well, so from the start, you get even wider varieties of starting builds to pick from, in addition to some fun new looks. The 3 tools you'll tinker and hone to create the perfect build are Victoria's flashlight, her shoes, and slingshot. The flashlight is your main weapon and the means to discover what's around you. You'll light up the areas as well as use it to defeat enemies. As you journey, you'll upgrade it with different batteries and bulbs using sparks that you collect from different creatures and slots that you unlock by using the sparks. Each build does feel different enough that your playstyle will have to vary a little bit as you try out different bulbs, but otherwise I found it relatively straightforward to create powerful builds quite early on in the game once I knew what elements I preferred to combine. You'll have the ability to use projectiles in the form of a slingshot that's also upgradable, and Victoria's shoes will give you additional options to help maneuver, like hover boots or the ability to double jump, again, also with additional unlockable slots to help augment what you already start with. Once you enter the mansion, you'll go through each of its rooms, attempting to find and slay the guardians of each area in search for your grandpa. Attic, clock tower, garden, and parlor are just a few of the early areas that you'll grow familiar with, and there will be 9 total that make up the full house. Each area does come with its own personality and design quirks to help change things up and vary the gameplay, and while visually a lot of them ended up looking a bit samey, I particularly enjoyed how the level design did feel distinctive between each room area. The garden is much more horizontally constructed, for example, while the clock tower is quite vertical. The attic, while also vertical, adds one of my favorite elements of the game, which is having to light areas as you explore and combat enemies. While one of the game's selling points was lighting up areas with your flashlight to see, I'm actually quite happy with the balance they achieved between me feeling like I needed to light up areas to see what's coming next, but also having some places where using the light wasn't really as much of a priority except for combat. It allowed me to feel more acclimated to the game as I was getting used to the twin stick controls, and feel some difference in pacing and focus as I was moving through each run. Finally, runs do get longer and longer as you play. You begin your journey by attempting to defeat the first guardian. On your next milestone, you'll defeat 3, then 6, and so on. And so what I found intriguing was while the gameplay itself feels very pick up and go once you've grasped it, by the end game, you'll need to block out a decent amount of time to complete the full final run. Fortunately, if time is of the essence, or if you just would like to toggle these on, there are the abilities to toggle on infinite ammo, sparks, and invulnerability, so you can customize your play session however you need to enjoy the game. As I played, I did love seeing Victoria become less and less afraid of what lay hidden in the manor after attempting to find her grandpa again and again. Her journey mirrors the players. As you get more familiar with each area and boss and it becomes less and less challenging, Victoria also speaks to that growing confidence and increased sense of comfort. One element that did tire out my eyes when I originally played the game was the fact that everything is in black and white, which is striking, but sometimes provided a little bit of difficulty in distinguishing between my projectile effects and those of my enemies, especially when things get really busy on the screen. I'm really excited to say, though, that devs have pushed their Halloween update again with a variety of filters that switch up colors in the world, and so I love it because it allows me to pick something different and helps a little bit with that fatigue that I felt personally with black and white visuals. Speaking of accessibility, they've also added an always-on toggle for the flashlight to help remedy some of the physical stress that you may feel, especially if you're not familiar with the twin-stick shooter style of gameplay. Eyes in the Dark wears its heart on its sleeve. This is a game that's playful in its haunted house theming, and while diehard fans of roguelikes, roguelights, and twin-stick shooters may find it a bit simplistic and easy in terms of builds, enemy variety, and overall challenge, I do think that this will find its audience and a sweet spot for folks who enjoy the genre but are looking for something fun, eye-catching, and just really entertaining to dive into, especially around the Halloween season. So if you're interested in playing, please check it out on PC via Steam and Epic Game Store. And if you are watching this video and it is around Halloween time in the year 2022, it's available on sale via the Steam Scream Fest for 35% off, which is about $9.74 USD. So if this is intriguing to you, definitely consider picking it up on sale. Thank you for watching this Indiescovery. Thanks again to Gearbox for sponsoring, and I'd love to hear what you think about the game, if you've tried it, or if you're like me and it's unlocked any childhood memories and fears for you, even in its fun, playful way. And if you like the video, please consider hitting that like button, following the channel, and finding me on Twitch and TikTok. I'm Kimchica in those two places as well. And I hope you have a wonderful time zone, that you're finding lots of indie games that you enjoy, and I'll see you next time in the cafe. Bye, y'all!